Welcome to Coin Explorer. What if I told you that a simple coin, something you might ignore every single day, could be hiding a detail so unusual that in rare cases, some reports suggest it has appeared in listings for up to $1 million? Sounds impossible, right? Almost like one of those internet myths. But here's the strange part. This isn't about a gold coin or something ancient. This is about a regular-looking quarter. And not just any quarter, a 1982 quarter dollar from the United States. Now pause for a second. Think about how many quarters you've held in your life. Hundreds? Thousands? What if one of them looked completely normal, but wasn't? That's where this story begins, because the truth about this coin isn't obvious. In fact, it's hidden in the smallest details. Details most people never notice. Details that can easily pass right through your hands and disappear forever. So let's take a closer look. The 1982 quarter might seem ordinary at first glance. On one side, you'll see the familiar face of George Washington, calm and steady, just like every other quarter you've seen. On the other side, the eagle, wings spread wide, strong, bold, a design that's been around for years. Nothing unusual, right? But here's where things start to get interesting. Because 1982 was not just another year for U.S. coins. Something changed, quietly, almost invisibly. And that change created a mystery that collectors still talk about today. You see, during that time, the U.S. Mint made a decision that most people never even heard about. They stopped including mint marks on certain coins, at least for a while. No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. Just nothing. Now, to the average person, that might not mean much, but to collectors, that's everything. Because a missing detail is not always just missing. Sometimes, it's the most important thing of all. Imagine holding two identical coins, same year, same design, same wear, but one tiny difference, a missing mint mark. And suddenly, one of them becomes incredibly rare. That's the kind of detail we're talking about. But wait, it goes even deeper than that. Because not every 1982 quarter without a mint mark is valuable. That would be too easy. The real story is about specific variations, subtle differences in weight, composition, even the way the coin was struck. Some of these coins were accidentally made on the wrong type of metal. Others have slight errors, so small you might need magnification just to see them. And yet, those tiny imperfections can completely change how the coin is viewed. Now think about this. How many times have you used a quarter without even looking at it? Maybe to buy something small, maybe just loose change in your pocket. What if one of those coins had something unusual and you never noticed? That's exactly why coins like this are so fascinating, because their value isn't obvious. It's hidden in plain sight, and only those who know what to look for can truly see it. Let's talk about one of the most talked about possibilities. Some 1982 quarters are believed to exist in experimental or transitional forms. These are coins that were struck during a time when the mint was adjusting materials and processes. And sometimes, during those transitions, mistakes happen. Rare mistakes. The kind that slip through unnoticed. The kind that end up in circulation. And years later, someone finds one. Now here's where things get even more intriguing. In some cases, certain listings and collector discussions have suggested that rare variations of coins like these have appeared with extremely high asking prices, sometimes reaching figures as high as $1 million. But here's the important part. These are not guaranteed values. Not every coin will sell for that. In fact, most won't. These prices are often based on very specific conditions: rarity, demand, and authenticity. So it's not about the coin itself being worth that amount. It's about the possibility, under the right circumstances. And that's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about money. It's about the idea that something ordinary could be extraordinary. That something small could hold a hidden story. But let's go back to the coin in your hand. Imagine holding a 1982 quarter right now. It looks worn, maybe a little scratched, nothing special. But what if, just what if, it had one of those rare characteristics? Would you even know? Would you notice the missing mint mark, the slight difference in weight, the subtle variation in design? Most people wouldn't, and that's exactly why these coins continue to circulate, unnoticed. Because they don't stand out, they blend in. They hide in plain sight, and only a few people take the time to really look. Now let's break it down even further. One of the key things collectors look for in a 1982 quarter is its origin. Was it struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or somewhere else? Normally, that mint mark would tell you. But in 1982, things weren't so simple. Some coins were produced without clear identification, and that creates uncertainty. And in the world of collecting, uncertainty can lead to rarity. Another factor is condition. A coin that's been heavily used might not hold much value, even if it's rare. But a coin that's well preserved, clean details, minimal wear, that's a different story. That's where collectors start to pay attention. That's where interest grows. And then there's the possibility of errors, double strikes, off-center designs, slight misalignments. These might seem like flaws, but in the world of coins, they can actually increase interest because they make the coin unique, one of a kind in some cases, and uniqueness is what collectors chase. But here's the twist. Even with all this information, even knowing what to look for, finding one of these rare coins is incredibly difficult because they're not labeled. They don't come with a sign that says valuable. They're just there, waiting, hidden among millions of others. And that brings us back to the original question. Could a simple 1982 quarter really be worth that much? The honest answer is complicated. Most 1982 quarters are only worth their face value, 25 cents. That's the reality. But in rare cases, under very specific conditions, certain variations have sparked interest in the collector world. And in some listings, those coins have been associated with extremely high asking prices. Not guarantees, not promises, just possibilities. And sometimes, that's enough to make people look twice. So the next time you find a quarter in your pocket, don't just spend it without thinking. Take a moment. Look at it. Check the details, because you never know what you might be holding. And maybe, just maybe, the real value isn't just in the coin itself, but in the story it carries. A story of small details, hidden changes, and the idea that even the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary secrets. And that's the mystery of the 1982 quarter. Not just what it is, but what it could be. So now I'll ask you one last question. How closely have you really been looking at your coins? Because the answer might surprise you. If you enjoyed this story, take a second to like and share your thoughts. And maybe check your pocket change. You never know what you might find.